If you raise chickens for eggs, I'm sure you've heard to never wash them, but have you ever wondered why that is or if it is even true? Well, stick around throughout this video because I'm going to quickly cover the best practices when it comes to cleaning and storing your fresh eggs that will save you space in the fridge, extend the shelf life, and keep you and your family safe. If you're new here, I'm Audrey from Audrey's Little Farm, and I help passion-driven people trailblaze their way to a more self-sufficient life filled with happiness, plants, and chickens. Okay, so if you've ever walked through the grocery store, at least here in the US, you will notice that the eggs are stored in the refrigerator and that they're perfectly clean. So once you start raising your own chickens for eggs, it probably seems correct to clean them and put them in the fridge. But that isn't the case. When a chicken lays an egg, it has a protective layer of protein on the outer shell called the bloom or the cuticle, and it keeps any bacteria from entering in through the eggshell. But once you wash the egg, that coating goes away. But in most commercial egg facilities, cleaning and pasteurization is required. And so that's why you see such clean, refrigerated eggs in stores. But us chicken keepers can keep our eggs with that protective coating on the outer shell because we don't have to wash them. And really, that's actually the best practice. So once you collect your eggs, leave them unwashed because then the protective coating stays on the outer shell and you don't have to worry about bacteria entering in through the eggshell. But if your eggs are dirty when you collect them, I understand that that's kind of frustrating and you don't really want to put them in the container. So it's best to hold off washing until right before you use them, or if you absolutely need to, you can use a scrub brush or a dry rag and wipe them down. You could even use a small piece of sandpaper and just gently rub off any caked on dirt and poop. And if you absolutely have to wash them with water, be sure that you use water that is warmer than the internal temperature of the egg, because if you use water colder than the internal temperature, the pores on the eggshell open up and that can cause bacteria to enter in through the eggshell. The other thing you want to keep in mind if you do have to wash your eggs with water is that first, to make sure the water is warm, but then don't ever soak them or fully submerge them in water. Just run them or clean them under running water or put them in a wire basket and just spray them off. And then if you happen to wash them, remember that now that protective coating is gone and they need to be refrigerated immediately. But the cool thing is if you keep on that protective coating, you can store your eggs at room temperature on the counter, which saves tons of space in the fridge. And if you're using them in baking or recipes, a lot of recipes call for room temperature eggs, and so your eggs are already set out on the counter and you can just grab them and use them as you need. But even though unwashed eggs are safe to leave on the counter at room temperature, you may want to put them in the fridge still to keep their freshness and quality longer, especially if your house is hot and humid. If your house is cooler, you really don't have to worry. They're perfectly safe for a few weeks on the counter. But if it's hot, you might want to just put your eggs in the fridge immediately, but leave them unwashed, and that will extend their shelf life and they'll keep their quality and freshness much longer than if you were to wash them. Another good practice when you store your eggs is to put them in a container with the pointy end facing down. So the more rounded end of the egg has an air sac inside, and if that is pointed upwards, it creates an insulation that prevents moisture loss in your eggs. But like I mentioned earlier, I know it could be tough storing dirty eggs. Even though we know it's best to leave on the protective bloom, it can be kind of gross to put eggs that are caked on with poop and dirt into a container and store them until you're ready to use them. And so the best thing you can do to prevent that is to keep them clean by using a really good nesting box material and collect your eggs frequently. The more often you collect them, the better. So if you head to this video right here, I go over the best chicken nesting box material that I have found. It lasts a long time and it keeps the eggs extra clean, way better than other materials I've used. So head to the video and check it out. I will see you there.